Welcome back to Business Success. I'm Chloe James for RFI Group on the Design Awards special. With me, Maureen Thurston and Dr. Brandon Geer. Welcome back to the show. So we're talking all about design, innovation, what a buzzword. I think it's pretty timely to talk about Vivid Festival in Sydney at the moment. Obviously it's in Sydney, this is a national program, but obviously one of Australia's largest events. What a standout show of design, and I know that you're so heavily involved. Do you want to have a little chat to me about the Good Design Australia Awards association with Vivid, Brandon?
Oh, look, it's been absolutely fantastic. This is our 5th year of being associated with Vivid Sydney, and it is one of the most beautiful, amazing events that the city puts on. And you know, for us to be able to use that event to promote the value of good design to consumers and the general public is just amazing. Our awards and the showcase of all these finalists are at the Overseas Passenger Terminal, right slap bang in the middle of Vivid, and we're expecting, you know, tens of thousands of people to go through there and have an opportunity of seeing some of these incredible designs that have just hit the market.
It's absolutely fantastic. We were talking, Maureen, as well before we came on about how this is just making design accessible to everyone, and that's so important, right?
Well, I love the Vivid Festival because it's this celebration of the senses, and between the sights and the sounds and being able to be a part of it actually extends that into understanding just the exhibition, being able to have just visitors walk through and see what good design actually is. It actually is a wonderful educational tool. It allows people to get a better sense of how to define what is good.
Yeah, absolutely. My parents are there tonight sending me photos on WhatsApp and absolutely loving it, and they said to say thank you so much for that. Talking about best examples of innovation then, best in class, global best examples. Apple is the obvious one. What's the next big thing?
Well, everyone talks about Apple, and I think, you know, quite rightly so.
Pretty good brand.
They've done wonders for the value of design in that corporate sense and what it can do for a company. But there are, you know, numerous other examples as well. And believe it or not, here in Australia, we've got some brilliant products that one company, for example, called Blackmagic Design, that make high-end broadcasting equipment, very technical equipment, you know, in that space, and they are competing against the best in the world. They've been dubbed the next Apple.
Cool.
And you know, everything about that company is design-led. Every single aspect of what they do is understanding their end user, doing pretty much what, you know, the guys at Apple did, and doing it better. There's the likes of Cochlear and ResMed that are the best in their game at an international level as well. And design is the thing that underpins those companies and makes them successful.
And I might be somewhat biased, but I think the Australian companies that you just rattled off, and there's quite a few more, seem to just punch above their weight. It's really quite interesting just how inside of Australia, kind of a small country by comparison to what's going on in the rest
And we're
of the
right
world.
down here.
And you're right down here. And oh my goodness, the impact that the products that we have that are developed here, that are created here, that are innovated here, actually the impact they're having on the rest of the world is pretty profound.
What is that? Is
it
a little guy mentality, or what is it, do you think?
We have a natural sensibility for being innovative.
Yeah.
And then we know we have to learn how to act on it that much more, so we need our educators to help us be able to round that circle out. But
yeah, you spoke about the end user then, Brandon. I think that's really interesting. Is it about looking, if you're creating a product, right, so someone out there is creating a beautiful product, a product that is needed, do you look at the end user first, your customer, and it's customer-led design?
I absolutely agree, and I think that's one of the most powerful things about a design-led approach is having that level of empathy for your user, not just what they call the end user, but the user. If you're designing a range of baby products or a pram, you need to understand who the user is. Is it a mum with 2 screaming kids under her arms? What are their needs, and how do you actually design specifically for that user? And designers have this amazing ability of jumping into that space and really trying to understand all those different aspects. There's this beautiful quote by one of our judges, and I refer to it all the time, that she said, "Joy is not accidental." And I love that because it just sums up when you pick up a product or you experience something and there's this beautiful little smile that happens. That's not an accident. Someone's thought about that very, very carefully, whether it's an app that you are using or a service that you're using or a product or even the interior of a space. If that's done immaculately well, then the designers have done their job correctly.
But what design thinkers do is that they actually spend a lot of time up front doing problem finding before they get to problem solving.
Right. Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah, it is important to find something that meets a need. I love that. I always think every time I'm on FaceTime, I do it all the time with my family, and the joy it brings me. And I always think,
and it's simple and it's intuitive and it's easy to use.
Yeah,
that's not.
It makes my life better. It makes my life better. We were talking a little bit about education. I do want to touch back on that point. The importance of, we talk about STEM all the time, and I understand we can now talk about STEAM, which is obviously with the arts, STEAMed, which is design. How does this all kind of come into play in Australia? Do you think we have a way to go? Do you think we're pretty well in class compared to the rest of the world?
I absolutely believe the importance of STEAM, and I do believe that we need to make sure that we're bringing the math and the science and the technology forward. But without the A, without the arts, we're developing very linear kind of isolated specialists, and there's nothing wrong with that, I suppose, but frankly, the world revolves around the arts as well. You can't just have one or the other, it's an and. You know, it should be a 360-degree view of a human being. And it's getting back to us allowing to express ourselves. At the core of the arts, at the core of design is expression. And if you only focus in on the ST and the E and the M, and as important as engineering and math and technology is, it actually limits us, and it limits our own potential.
Yeah.
So why would we do that?
Perhaps limits the joy a little bit as well, if it's so set in stone there. I want to talk, let's just go on a little bit then from education and look at sort of politics and government. Where does their role play in, you know, we saw Malcolm Turnbull come out when he came into power and sort of say, you know, it was all about innovation and we're going to spend millions and millions of dollars in this area. Perhaps it hasn't gone all that way. What are your views there?
Look, I think one of the shortfalls in the Prime Minister's sort of vision for innovation was that design wasn't part of it. When we talk about innovation, we talk about design-led innovation, and there's a very big difference there. How do you walk into a business and say you need to be innovative? Everyone is trying to be innovative, but design provides that roadmap. It provides a systematic way of looking at innovation and turning it into something pragmatic and tangible. And I think that's sort of where I was a bit upset in terms of seeing that there was a lot of show, and I was very encouraged by all the words that were coming out of the government at the time, and it seems to sort of gone off the table at the moment.
Yeah.
Or perhaps something like Vivid and your Good Design Awards. Let's get it back up on the map again.
That would be very nice.
Absolutely. Biggest challenges you think design thinkers are faced with, and this is just a little bit onto advice for viewers of the show. Biggest challenges and opportunities in the design world. I want to be a designer now after this show, quite frankly.
Well, if I can say, everyone is a designer. So it's there was a gentleman there was a Nobel laureate that quoted that everyone is a designer who actually wants to take a current situation and turn it into a preferred one. So yes, there are designers that have a diploma, and there are those who work in the profession. But everyone, it is part of our human nature, actually, to design, because we want to make things better. As far as business goes, if you have leadership inside of an organization that actually wants to make things better, they're acting as designers as well.
That's really good advice.
I completely agree with you, and I think that the challenge that designers have is a continual sort of push to justify why they exist. And that it comes back to design being seen as a cost, as an afterthought rather than a strategic investment in a business. And I think that is changing. So encouraging to see that a lot more businesses are seeing design as this strategic investment that they are making in their brand, in their business, in their product and in their service, and that the returns are absolutely clear. It's an
essential investment, isn't it? We were talking about, I mean, people have an expectation nowadays of beautiful design, beautiful things, a seamless experience in whatever they do, ordering their dinner, getting an Uber to work, you know, these kinds of things. It's sort of essential, isn't it?
I think there's also this step too. You hear a lot of businesses that business leaders are talking about the importance of differentiation. And I don't discredit that. I think that's actually important, but I actually don't think it's good enough, frankly. I think organizations need to start looking about what is it that they do that makes them distinctive. Because if you're only shooting for differentiation, actually all you have to do is just be a little bit different than the next competitor. But being distinctive is you understand what your purpose is as an organization. You actually are humanistic and human-focused in everything that you do, the way that you actually treat your employees as well as their customers. And it's that approach of understanding that we will only be that much more successful if we do it together. That is an object of design.
Absolutely. Listen, thank you so much for coming on Business Success. I'm pretty excited for Thursday night and also to meet all the winners. That's it from me for another week. Thanks to my guests, and of course, thank you for watching. Next week, I will chat to the winners of the awards about what it takes to be best in class. See you then.